Said Rex Ryan on Tebow, Tim's going to be a major contributor to our football team. With the Wildcats specifically, the great thing is you don't know if we're going to run it 1 snap a game or 20 snaps a game. You have no idea. Every week it could be different. That's some of the preparation problems he gives you. A look into the mind of how Rex will use Tim. Can the Rex Ryan, Mark Sanchez deal be a good fit for the New York Jets?
It's a horrible fit. And I'm going to be regurgitating a lot of things I've heard on this network for the last week, ever since this deal was struck with the Denver Broncos. This might be the worst place for Tim Tebow to end up in the NFL, for the New York Jets, for its fans, for its organization, because of the obvious reasons. The quarterback that you just gave an extension to is fragile-minded. He's weak-minded. He's shown that throughout his career. You made an investment in him by giving him a new deal, but then you turn around and you bring in the circus we know as Tim Tebow. Here's the thing. If they're bringing him in to try to push Mark Sanchez to be a better quarterback, I kind of get that. But guess what? It's probably not going to happen. At some point throughout the season, Mark Sanchez is going to struggle. At some point, Mark Sanchez is going to throw a pick 6. Mark Sanchez is going to throw 30% percentage-wise. And then the fans, the media in New York are going to clamor for Tim Tebow. I can't think of another team in the league that was a worse fit for Tim Tebow based on the circumstances than the New York Jets. It's horrible.
It's a bad thing.
It's a disaster.
It's a bad thing to clamor
It's a disaster. Yes, it is.
Not just in New York with the Jets or the Giants, but the backup quarterback, when the starter is having problems, is always the favorite player on the team.
So compounded by 100 with this situation.
I think this is a great fit. If Sanchez can look forward and not look back and handle his business. And the reason why this is a good fit is because Rex Ryan has experimented and ran the Wildcat. This isn't something that they're going to be doing the first time. If anybody can do it better than Brad Smith did, it's Tim Tebow, because he is a quarterback, no matter what my brother wants to say about his title and his position. When you've got a team that has to focus on the Jets, you're now going to have to destroy your defensive meetings that entire week. You've got to prepare for 2 different styles of quarterbacks. And just like I always talk about with Michael Vick, that makes preparation extremely difficult for a defensive team when you don't know what you're going to see. And you're talking about giving him 20% of the snaps. He doesn't have to run all Wildcat. Denver didn't run all Wildcat.
They don't run any Wildcat.
This makes it extremely tough for the team that's preparing for Tim Tebow. And I know he'll excel. I know he'll do good. But if Sanchez keeps his head together, that's the common denominator for this working. Sanchez has to say, I'm going to do what I do and let him do what he does, and then we can work cohesively to make this work.
What about the concept of rhythm for your starting quarterback?
Yeah,
so you mean to tell me Mark Sanchez is going to be playing pretty decent, and then they're going to trot out Tim Tebow?
You also brought up...
What about the concept of rhythm, Ryan?
I do believe in rhythm, but when you've got a quarterback that is used to coming out anyway for a wide receiver in Brad Smith, he shouldn't have a problem coming out for another quarterback to do something different.
Brad Smith didn't do anything last year.
Let me clear this up.
Not last year, but the year before.
I'm on record about this. The New York Jets are the perfect place for Tim Tebow. The perfect fit for Tim Tebow is Rex Ryan. This is a match, maybe literally, made in heaven. I'm on record as saying that by midseason, Tim Tebow will be the starting quarterback by no later than midseason for the New York Jets. Let me ask you something, Doug Stewart.
Yes.
What does Rex Ryan prefer to do? What's his MO? He wants to ground
and pound. The ball up.
Ground and pound.
Yep.
Right.
What did Tim Tebow do when he stepped in game 6 for the Denver Broncos last year? From that point forward, he made the Broncos the #1 rush offense in the National Football League. You don't think Rex Ryan was attracted to that? Like, this is what I want to do? Because Rex wants to ground and pound, play top 5 in the league defense, and complete a few timely, crucial touchdown passes, which is exactly the way Tim Tebow likes to play football. He will embrace him. This is his kind of football player. He is a gamer. He is a baller. Rex is going to love that. And trust me on this. Tim Tebow chose the Jets over his hometown Jacksonville Jaguars because, #1, he knows he can beat out Mark Sanchez because of everything you just said, how fragile he is mentally. Trust me on this. He thinks he'll move right in and beat him out.
Keep in mind one thing here. Sperano and Rex Ryan both fell to the hands of Tim Tebow
Saw it
on the
up close
opposite
and all too
sideline.
personal.
They know what they're doing. They want his dimension a part of what they can do instead of being beat by the guy. He beat them both.
And why did Tim Tebow not go to Jacksonville? Because he knew the football staff, the coaches, and the executives did not want Tim Tebow.
He's not a malarkey guy.
Okay.
He's not a Mike
knew
Malarkey
it.
guy.
But Rex Ryan called Tim Tebow before the trade was made, before the choice was made. And trust me, in that conversation, Rex Ryan made it really clear to Tim Tebow, you will get the opportunity at some point this year to win this job. They're giving you the euphemism of wildcat backup. Don't buy 1 second of it.
So I'm gonna get back to reality here because both of you guys are insane. I promise you that. How is it going to work when you have a quarterback that's a little bit above average being backed up by a below average quarterback that passed for 45, 46% last year, coming into a media circus like New York in a locker room that's in disarray? How can that be good? How can that be good for anybody to do that?
You've got two quarterbacks that have won at this level. Both of them are winners. And secondly, you lean on the contract. They gave him that money. NFL contracts are a facade. It means nothing.
There's a lot of phony money in that one.
I'm trying to figure out how you guys think this is a good thing.
Okay, from the start, from game one, you're going to see them split time, basically, which I don't love.
Which is
because
horrible.
I'm all about you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. But in this case, I won't even be surprised if by game 2 and 3, you'll see Sanchez get the first and the third quarters and Tebow get the second and the fourth quarter.
I think that's a lot, starting
I know,
off early.
Okay. And you'll also see by maybe game 4 and 5, Rex will just go with whoever has the hot hand that day. Don't love it, but it's heading toward Tebow taking over the Jets and then, in turn, taking over the locker room that is in disarray. And it won't be with this guy as the leader in the locker room.
The only team, this is the worst combination that I could think of. If you went to a team with an established quarterback like a Brett Favre or an Aaron Rodgers, they were talking about him going to Green Bay, I could get that because there would be no question. Now, the soft-minded Mark Sanchez, when he struggles, the New York Jets fans, just like they did in Denver, are going to call for Tim Tebow.
And
Tim Tebow can't play.
Well, look.
He can't play for the millionth time. He can't play.
I got to ask one last question. He went 8-5 last year, and he can't
so what? So what?
Ignore that.
Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Were you saying the same thing then? No, you weren't.
That's an insane statement.
Whatever.
But one thing about Mark Sanchez, he knows he's on watch. They tried to get Peyton Manning. They talked about Peyton during the course of last year. So if anything, this may help him step his game up to be a better quarterback, while Tebow also is an added interest to help them win football games.
Right. Some say that and I know that Skip thinks it's going to be the spread option more than it is the Wildcat. Some say the Wildcat gimmick has come and gone, and it's run its course.
1-4 in his last 5 games.
Can he win with that?
With a variation of the Wildcat. But remember, like Skip said a second ago, Denver didn't do that last year.
They never ran the Wildcat.
He won. Yeah. So if you incorporate him in the Wildcat and allow him to do some other things that he's got success at doing, which is if it's just dropping back, getting the defensive spread out and then letting them run, that's an added dimension to help your offense.
He'll just run a spread option with the back to his right.
I'm all for it.
It's people like y'all that keep this thing going.
Yep.
It's people like y'all.
No, he kept it going by winning football games.
Yeah.
He kept it going by beating Pittsburgh.
1-4 in his last 5 games.
But, Doug, you have to admit this. From a curiosity standpoint,
it's
a 1 to 10,
fantastic.
this is a 20.
It's fantastic.
You can't wait to see what's going to happen.